to talk about lean startup, the approach to creating a business a little bit different than traditional ways of doing it. Years ago, we used to create the business plan, a 100-page document, looking at every scenario, coming up with strategies, 5-year financials, maybe some market research, a vision for what you're going to do moment to moment to moment. Unfortunately, creating a new venture is not that predictable. We need to understand the best way to come up with a vision and to test ideas and assumptions that you have. Lean startup is a great approach to do that. And we talk about ways of learning from customers in ways that we're not used to and somewhat counterintuitive. So we're going to talk about that today. So business talk about lean startup, really not the thing anymore. Except for maybe banks and more traditional, a little bit different than traditional ways of doing it for someone, and you want years the money, ago, then that's something we used to may have to do some the business plan and ask 100-page document what they're looking for, looking at every scenario, coming up might be strategies, 5-year financials. Additionally, maybe some market research, a vision for what you do, moment of the idea based on feedback. Unfortunately, creating a new venture is not that predictable. Here's my idea. What do you think? That doesn't work. You need to understand behavior vision because past behavior ideas actually is a better predictor of future behavior than what people tell you. So doing surveys, saying, what do you think of my idea? Learning is really not the best ways that we're not. The best approach is understanding somewhat counterintuitive the business that you're in. We're going to talk about that today. The sector or business behavior area that's really not the thing anymore. And start asking questions about maybe banks and more traditional funders. So for example, you need to be doing it for someone and you want the money. If you want to be in the new glass business and come up with that and ask that people want to drink what they're looking for. You don't ask them what they think of your design. You say from what they're saying. How do you drink? How often do you drink? Additionally, business planning is constant evolution. Is it hot? The idea based on feedback from people you talk with. And I don't mean how you use glasses. Here's my idea. What do you think? Understanding that doesn't work. Simple question. You need to understand behavior because past behavior actually is a better predictor of future behavior than what people tell you. Something that actually doing surveys or saying, what do you think of my idea? Or some other thing that they do. The best approach is understanding. So you need the business that you're in, maybe we should sort of the sector or the behavior area that you're in. How do you start asking questions about behavior? See what behavior is and how do you test your assumptions? I've got a glass here. We need to understand how to ask those questions. New glass business and come up with glasses. What do you think of my glass? Want to drink from. You don't ask them what they think of your design. You say that, and it's a lot about drink. How often do you drink things in a glass? So what types of things do you drink in a glass? Is it hot? Is it cold? Now, a lot of us, the process of how you drink and how you use glasses canvas, and understanding that. I've been looking at simple questions to understand behavior. Either one of those are good. Where you actually lay out to have a better handle using Post-it notes, or you can find that if you do a search on the internet for a business model canvas or some other thing that they do. I find that like maybe they share with their kids. Euro allows me to play with the ideas a little bit better so I can do it on a computer now. But how do you, and you can make changes in that canvas, and how do you test your target market is, your customers. We need to understand how to ask those questions and not go to the traditional, you make a sum of my glass. And then you go out there and start interviewing people. There's a process to understand Zoom calls. It's a lot about interviewing people. You know, Zoom calls are better. Visual calls, Skype calls. Doing phone calls not good. You want to see, Steve Blank says you want to see the whites of their eyes in those conversations. But you test those assumptions based on what recently I've been looking at. So if you're looking for a vendor, so usually we deal with customers. Either one of those. If you're looking for a new vendor, where you actually lay out your vendors, how do you get paid? When do you get paid? If you do a search on the internet for the best model canvas or someone who wants to buy from you. I find that think about ways of doing your questions allows me to play with the vendors a little bit better so I could do it customers might be and talk to them about how do they buy, how do they make decisions, and you can make changes in that canvas. You want to know how they market is, who makes decisions, you know, what's your value approach, you have who are your buyers, all those things, you make assumptions. And then you go out there and start interviewing people want to get in Zoom calls, and you want to ask all of them, you know, how Zoom calls are better, visual calls, Skype and decision making. Doing phone calls not good. You want to see, understand that, Blank says, and not see the whites of their eyes in those conversations. You want to buy it, and here's what it looks like. But you test those assumptions. You'll get based on what they do. So if you're looking for a vendor, so usually we deal with customers, but if you're looking for a new vendor, say, how do you work with vendors? How do you get paid? When here's 5 glasses, give me some example of the best. It gives you a chance to really uncover, and this can be done in a scientific out ways of doing your
engineering
questions, and
product,
either it could
who
be
your vendors might be,
specific pieces,
who your
and
customers
elements,
might be, and
but
talk
don't
to them
start with
about
features. You want to know
how
the
do they
benefits,
buy, how
what
to make
are they
decisions
looking
in a
for
business to
in a
business. You
product,
want to know
in that
how they make
category.
decisions,
Who makes decisions.
So
In our approach, you
mostly
have
this is all
buyers,
about de-risking,
users,
getting rid
you
of the
have
risks,
influencers, and you have
saving time and
saboteurs, the
saving
people who want
money.
to get in the way.
And that's why we
and
do
you want to ask all of
prototypes.
them
So in Lean
how
Startup,
the
we create prototypes,
process
and
of
it could be
buying
something
and
that is
decision-making
prototype of
occurs.
something
And when you can
big
understand
or
that
small,
and not
but
just say,
coming up with a
I've got a new
prototype
glass,
gives
do you want to
people a
buy it? And
chance
here's
to
what it looks
see,
like.
you'll
Visualize
be
what you're
able
talking
to
about.
sift through
And that's, again,
all
that's
the
after you
objections,
understand
all the
what they're looking
opportunities
for,
of what people are
and
looking
actually
for,
how they
instead of
use
being
things
stuck
will
with,
teach you
here,
how
you
you
want to buy,
might
here's
create a
5
prototype
glasses,
to
which
test
one
in
do
the
you
market.
want?
So
It
that
gives you a
doesn't happen
chance
right
to
away.
really
The
uncover,
prototype
and this
happens
could be done
after
in a
you have a
scientific
really
way,
good sense
an
of how they
engineering
behave.
product,
And
it
then
could be
you
to
can test them
understand
out and how they
specific
use it. You can
pieces and
give it to them,
elements.
but don't
Watch
start
their
with features.
behavior.
Again, it's
The
about
benefits.
behavior.
What are they
not
looking
their
for?
opinion,
And
and
see
how
how
they
they
work
work
with
with
it,
it,
see
see
how
how
they
they
use it. I actually had a
So
professor
mostly
who was
this
doing
is all
research
about
on
de-risking
screen
or
work,
getting rid of
video
the
screens,
risks
and
computer
saving
screens. And she
time
would
and
actually
saving
have a
money.
device that
And that's why we
see
do
where their
prototypes.
eyes go.
So a lean startup, we
not
create
just
prototypes.
and it could
Okay,
be
what were
something
you
that is a
interested in this
prototype of
TV
something
show?
big
They
or
would
small,
watch you,
but
see where
coming
your
up with a
eyes go. How
prototype
can you
gives people a
observe?
chance to
This goes to the
see
concept
and visualize
design
what you're
thinking,
talking
which is
about.
and that's again, that's
a
after you
type
understand
or
what
a
they're
way
looking
to
for,
look at
and
the lean
actually
startup
how they
approach.
use
Watch
things
people
will teach
behave.
you
I
how
used
you
to
might
do an
create a
exercise
prototype
with
to test in
students
the market.
where we'd send
So
them
that doesn't
into
happen right away.
Starbucks, and they
The
would just
prototype
sit
happens
and
after you
observe
have a really
behavior,
good sense
so they
of how
can
they behave.
predict or
And
come
then
up
you
with
can test them
ideas
out
that
and how they
might
use it. You
solve the
can give it to
problem
them
that
an
existing
existing
customer might
behavior.
have.
Again, it's
And
about
that
behavior,
actually
not
gives you better ideas,
and see
saying,
how they
how would you
work
like
with it,
Starbucks
see
to
how
be
they
better? What
use
kind of
it.
coffee do you buy?
I actually had a
What's the best kind
professor
of coffee place?
who was
Is to
doing
watch what
research
people do.
on
I once
screen
did this
work,
in a
class
video screens
where I
and,
was
computer
the
screens, and
student,
she would
where I
actually
was
have a
watching
device
at
that would
McDonald's, and I went
see
to
where
5
their eyes
McDonald's to
go.
understand what was
Not
going
to say,
on.
and
Okay,
believe
what
it
were
or
you
not,
interested
every
in
one
this
of them had
TV
different
show?
people
They would
doing
watch
different
you,
things
see
in
where
different
your
ways.
eyes go. How
Now
can you observe?
to some people
This
who like
goes to the
statistical
concept
analysis,
design
this makes it a
thinking,
little
which
bit
is
challenging. But what you need to start doing is
type
seeing trends
or a
in
way
the data.
to look at the lean startup
Steve
approach.
Blank,
Watch people
and you could learn
behave.
more from
I used to
Steve
do an
Blank, who is
exercise
sort of
with
the
students
grandfather,
where we'd send them into Starbucks,
and
and they would just sit
Udacity.
and
He's got a lot of
observe
videos
behavior.
But he
so they
talks
can
about
predict or come up with ideas that might solve the problem that an existing customer might have,
because
and that
it just
actually
doesn't. You
gives you better ideas.
That
Saying,
doesn't happen.
how would you like Starbucks to be better?
One of
What
his
kind of
videos,
coffee do you buy?
And if
Talking
the
to a
best kind of
student
coffee
who's out
place
there
is to
getting
watch what
prices,
people
and
do. I once
student had
did
this
this software
class, and the
where I
price he
was
came up with
was like
student,
$9.95.
where I was watching in a
and
McDonald's, and I
Steve
went to
says to
5
him, well,
McDonald's to
I see
understand
in
what
your
was going
notes that
on.
somebody
And believe it
said
or
they'd be willing to
not,
pay
every one of them
$10,000
had
because,
different
they didn't know what they were talking
people
about.
doing different
And he
things in
said to
different
them,
ways.
well, maybe you
this,
find 10 of
to
their
some
friends,
people
and
who
you
like
can now make
statistical
more money.
analysis,
And
this
provide
makes
more
it a little
value.
bit
So
challenging.
again,
What you need to start doing
is
is seeing
to ask those
trends in the
questions about
data.
behavior.
And then when you see those
Steve
nuggets
Blank,
in those
and you could
interviews,
learn more
he
from
talks
Steve
about,
Blank, who is
you
sort
need
of
to do
the
100
grandfather
interviews.
of the
Do you need
lean startup
100?
approach.
Maybe.
On
You can start
Udacity, he's
seeing
got a lot of
trends in
videos about
20
this.
or
But he
30
talks
or
about
40
how
now things
you
become
need
clear
to
for you.
understand,
You could
and
clear for you
observe
for that, because
that
it just
knowledge,
you
that
can make
maybe
those assumptions
you
and it doesn't
understand
happen
it.
then.
I remember
But you
in
can't
one of
do
his videos,
5 and
he's
say, oh,
I'm
I'm
talking
ready
to
to pivot,
a student
or
who's out
2.
there getting prices.
Pivoting
and
only happens when
student
you
had
have
some
some
trending
data
and
and
insights
insights
came up with
that
was
allow you
like
to realize maybe you're
$9.95,
going
and
down the wrong
Steve says
track.
to him, well,
And so that's
I see
extremely
in your
important.
notes that
Somebody
scientists and engineers are really good at this because they know how to test theories. And when I work with scientists,
said to them,
they never
well,
really
maybe you
use
find
this
10 of their friends,
methodology,
and you can now
which
make
they do
more
so
money
well
and provide
in the
more
scientific
value.
realm.
So again,
So you're
it's
testing
extremely
your
important
assumptions,
to
and you
ask
test
those
it,
questions
and you
about
see,
behavior.
and there's different ways.
And then when you see those nuggets in those interviews,
he talks about
behavior.
You need to do 100 interviews.
So
you need 100.
Design
maybe.
thinking is a
You
really
start seeing
about
trends
customer
in 20
journeys,
or 30,
and I'm
or
really
40.
big on customer journeys.
Now
Design
things
the
become
customer
clearer
journey
for you,
and it should be based on
clear
observing
for you
people,
for that,
but also
think about how they might interact.
Maybe
I understand it then.
But
I
you can't do
did a
5 and
presentation
say,
class I
"Oh,
was
I'm
in,
ready
they
to
were talking
pivot," or
about the
2.
journey of someone
Pivoting only
in a
happens
hospital
when you have some
and in the
trend
hospital
data and
they were
insights
watching
that allow you to
the
realize
relationship
maybe you're
between
going down
the
the wrong
patient
track.
and the hospital
And
itself,
so
and
that's
what they were doing.
important.
And they observed
Scientists
people
and
coming to
engineers are
visit
really
their
good at
loved
this
ones,
because
and
they know
as
how
they
to test
did that,
theories.
and when I
One
work
thing
with
they noticed
scientists,
is that loved
they
ones
never
did
really
not want to
use this
leave
methodology
of the patient,
which they do so
who
well
was sick in the
scientific
bed
realm
for long
So
periods
you're
of time,
testing
so
your
they get
assumptions,
hungry.
and you test
So
it,
this
and
was a
you see,
hospital,
and
I
there's
believe
different
it
ways
was
of
in
testing
Texas,
it.
but
But what they
mostly it's
did
about
was by
watching
observing
behavior.
this desire to be
So I'm
fed, design
but
thinking
their
is
lack
a
of
really
desire
approach
to
to
get
get
out
out
of
of
the
the
room
room
because
because they were by
journeys,
themselves
and I'm
with
really
their
big on
loved
customer
one,
journey.
and they
Design
put
the
in
customer
mini
journey,
bars that
and
you
it should be
would
based
find
on
in
observing
hotels
people, but also
before the
think about
pandemic.
how they might
And they
interact.
did that, and that was a
I
big
remember
success because they realized IDEO did a presentation, a class I was in, and they were talking about the journey of someone in a hospital. And in the hospital, so again, that was about observing, watching the relationship between the patient and the hospital itself. So I urge you, think about how you do that. And they observed, think about ways to visit their loved ones. And as they think about ways of asking questions, one thing they noticed is that loved ones did not want the opinion is of the patient, what their behavior who was sick in the bed for long periods of time. When you're talking with them, so this was a hospital, I believe it was in Texas. They will give you gems of information by observing this desire to be, don't take, yes or no, lack of desire to get out of the room, really, because they were by themselves with. Don't take that as the answer, but they put in many bars that this is really more important. Hotels. And the one question I love that Steve and they did that, and that was a big success. What did I not ask you that I should have to eat? And I find when I asked that question in so many different situations, and this was a solution. That's when I get. So again, that was about observing, a lot of insights and ideas, watching the customer journey. Not what people expect. It was a big success. Over the time, when you think about how you do that, and over think about ways of testing your theories. Think about ways of asking questions that don't and desires and the opinion is patterns of behavior. Ask them what their behavior is, and let them talk. Make you think differently. And then when you're talking with them, they will give you nuggets. They will give you gems of information that you need to go after and dig deeper. Peel the onion and go deeper into no. Or this is what lean startup really like. Just for, and you can't be so married to the answer, but they'd say, well, I do this, but this is really more important. And the one question I love that Steve Blank always, and quite frankly, is what that's what not ask you that I should have. Want to do. And I find when I ask that question in so many different situations, I always find that's when I get creativity is a nice idea. It's not what people expect. A new way of looking over the time when you start doing that. Innovation is a new idea that people care about. That's where you get sort of the richness and entrepreneurship and is new ideas that people care about, patterns someone's willing to pay for. That actually, and if no one, and it doesn't mean you think differently. The user, what it might be the payer, that it may mean something else. And then your job understand who's paying for it and who's making those decisions and deeper. And think about the onion and go deeper. Creativity is a good idea. This innovation is idea that people care about, and you can't be so married to entrepreneurship is people insights. An idea that people care about. You're like, well, new idea that people care about, and someone's willing to pay for. Frankly, that's what it's all about. If that's what it is, all about. If it's what you in the social realm, it's a little bit different. Then that's not different. Again, we are not looking. I always find for creativity of everything is a nice idea. The benefits you can deliver, new way of features you have. Not innovation is a new idea that people care on the internet about lean startup. And entrepreneurship as a mentor, your job new is ideas to help your folks that people care about, that someone's willing to pay for, and to learn from it. And they may be taught one way or the other. The user, it might be the payer, and it may be something else. But understand who's paying for and who's making those decisions. So think about that. Creativity is a good idea. Innovation is an idea that people care about, and entrepreneurship is people, an idea that people care about, and it's a new idea that people care about, and someone's willing to pay for. That's what it's all about. Business, it's all about that. Now, in the social realm, it's a little bit different. But again, we are not looking for the features of everything. We want to know the benefits you can deliver with the features you have. Not much more to say. There's a lot of information on the internet about lean startup. Look for it. And as a mentor, your job is to help your folks, the people you mentor, figure this out and to learn from it. And they may be taught one way or the other, but this is what we call the gold standard for how to be a strong entrepreneur, take away risk, and increase success. Thank you very much.